As you know, just for our recording purposes, this is Saturday, August the 9th, 2014. And our topic for tonight is going to be on etiquette. And I think that most particularly our presenter is going to focus on please and thank you. But we're going to open the door and let God just have his way in her in whatever avenue she want to flow with the topic of etiquette. But our speaker is going to be Minister Theola Bright. She is like a dynamic powerhouse, as mentioned on the Saved and Singles website, and maybe on our Twitter page and Facebook page. Our website is theolabright.com, and if you have been to her site, she is just so dynamic. She is an actor, an actress, should I say. She's an artist. She's an entrepreneur. At one point in time, she had the first braid shop in Mobile, the African Braid Shop, later named Africa Village. She is a fashion designer. She's a DJ. Was the producer and host of the Jazz Collection. She also has a talk show called Think About It with Theola Bright. She's a life coach. She's a singer-songwriter. If you was just on just a little bit a while ago when we was playing music, we was actually playing one of her songs, Thank You, Jesus. She's just awesome. She's a vegan chef. I believe if I'm correct, she also wrote a vegan cookbook just recently. So she is, and I'm sure I haven't covered everything, she's just dynamic. And one of the most beautiful things I think about Minister Theola is that she is so humble with it. I mean, she's just so humble, and it's just a blessing just to even know her. And I'm just so thankful and grateful for her accepting the opportunity to talk tonight. And when we were talking I guess maybe a couple of months ago, and I don't know even how we got on etiquette, but I was like, that'll be an excellent topic, I think, because, we try to cover some of everything on Saved and Single. So I think this is going to be an awesome topic by an even more awesome woman of God. So with no further ado, I present to you all tonight Minister Theola Bright. Take it away.
Good evening to all of you saved and single people out there.
Praise the Lord.
I want to open with a prayer. Jesus taught us not to pray vain repetitions, so I am going to pray in the manner that he taught us. Our Father who art in heaven and all around us, holy is your name. May your kingdom come and dwell within us. May your will be done through us on earth as it is in heaven. We thank you for this day and our daily bread, knowing that we do not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from your mouth. We thank you for forgiving our sins as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Thank you for leading us in the path of righteousness, away from evil and temptation. To be away from evil is where we find your kingdom. To be away from evil is where we find your power. To be away from evil is where we find your glory. And that is where we want to be forever. So let all the people who have dialed in tonight say, Amen.
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 Amen. Okay. Well, I'll tell you how we got on the subject of etiquette. Brother Robbie opened the door for me, and I was so surprised. I said, oh, wow, there's still some gentlemen left. And he says, well, yeah, this is what I do all the time. So I said, oh, well, I wish so many others would do this too. So many people let doors slam in your face, and things have changed. Mm-hmm. But I have a praise report of my testimony before I get into the etiquette. Okay. My praise report tonight is to thank the Lord for giving me favor with my brother Robbie to have me on this call-in conference, giving me a platform and an opportunity to speak to you tonight.
Awesome.
And thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will be speaking to you on God's etiquette. Now, I'm from the old school, but I'm also up to date with new etiquette, too. However, I have found that the old school etiquette is what makes a lasting impression. Because back in my day, we called it manners. But over the years, I've come to understand etiquette to be a paraphrase of the golden rule, which is, and I know you know the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Mm-hmm. And the good book teaches us that in all thy getting, get understanding. So tonight I want to make sure you understand the importance of adding etiquette to your lifestyle, especially if you're single and dating and looking to meet that special someone that God has chosen for you. You know, that someone you can unite with and become one. I also hope that you have some paper and pen handy where you can write down, take notes, something you maybe want to ask a question about later, or it's the Bible scriptures that I'm going to give to you when I finish. And I'm hoping that we're going to have a Q&A later, too. So if you have to leave the conference for any reason, or either if you would like to get a transcript, you can also get in touch with me at theolabright.com or through my brother Robbie here. Okay, we're ready to start with God's Etiquette 101?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, well, here we go. To make sure we're all on the same page with the term etiquette, which is really a fancy word for manners, I'm going to give you a blanket explanation, one that I incorporated my own along with dictionaries, Webster. We're all familiar with Webster. But etiquette is simply proper behavior and protocol that is expected by those in authority, those who are well-educated, and those who want to be considerate, courteous, and show respect for others. You got that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, as I said before, I'm from the old school, and I know there are many things that have changed or have become accepted behavior over the years, but there are some things that are standard and will never change when it comes to common courtesy and respect. And two of those things are the magic words taught to me by my mother, and I refer to her all the time in my speaking engagements. So you're going to hear me say it some more. But those two magic words were please and thank you. When we add please to a request, it is our way of saying, I know you don't have to do this for me. You have the choice of granting my request or refusing it. But when we ask for something without adding please, we make it sound like it's a command or a demand. Take, for instance, the Ten Commandments, for example. Here you have the voice of authority speaking. There's no place in the Ten Commandments where you will find the word please. It's common meaning. No, please don't steal. Please don't kill. A command means to do it or suffer the consequences. In other words, that's why, we have that freedom of choice, and we have to learn to exercise it by thinking before we do. Because every choice that we make, there's either a reward if we make the right choice, or there's a consequence if we make the wrong choice. So we need to ask ourselves before we make these choices, how will this affect my life? Mm-hmm. So a command is giving you the rules, and you still have that freedom of choice to decide, I'll do what I want to do. But on the other hand, a demand means do it right now. In other words, when I say jump, you ask how high. So you see, when we ask for something without using the magic word please, we show ourselves as being bossy or controlling. And this is not an impression that you want to make on someone you just met. I know you've heard that the same thing it takes to get her or him is the same thing it takes to keep her or him. Mm-hmm. And many couples grow apart as they become familiar with each other because they start to take each other for granted, and they stop putting their best foot forward. They stop saying please and thank you. You have them say, bring me a sandwich. But you would say, please bring me a sandwich. Oh, she would bring it to you gladly, But we've got to stop taking each other for granted and be kind and sweet. Sweethearts for always, not just when you're dating. I'm so glad they have this date night out where couples now can go out and just spend some time alone, because you do get sidetracked when you have the business of the day and running the house and the kids and everything, and you do need some time to remember the things that attracted you to each other in the first place and keep that fire burning, you know. Okay. Okay, saying please is not something you do for a while to make a good impression, then stop after you get what you want. I think you've got your hooks in someone. Saying please is, it has to become a part of your personality in order for you to be real and not a hypocrite, or as the young generation calls it, a perpetrator. Saying please has to come from your heart, too. It has to come from your heart so much that you will even say please to children and strangers. Make your first impression a lasting impression, one that will last a lifetime. Because your soulmate is going to love you just the way you are, just the way he or she remembers you when you first met. So don't go changing. What you have to do is make the necessary changes in your personality before you start dating. Prepare yourself for that special someone. And I know it's hard to point your finger at yourself, but we've got the book, the Bible, Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth, to teach you how to prepare yourself for that special someone. It's like looking in a mirror. All you got to do is read it. Okay? So remember to always use please as your prefix when you're asking a question. And this also applies to your verbal and your written communications. Saying please will work magic for you. When I say written communications, I'm speaking of your text messages and your email, because most of them are brief text messages, misspelled words, trying to make it quick, and they lack common courtesy. You don't say please, and a lot of folks don't say thank you. And many people are offended by text messages that they get when they misinterpret them due to their personal feelings, because you don't know how the person, their tone of voice. That's why the emotion icons are like the smiley face and everything. This is why they were invented, so that you can let others know whether you were joking or not, or how you felt when you were writing the words. Words are meant to be spoken. That's how the good Lord used them. That's how he created the whole world. The whole universe is by speaking it into existence. Yes, words have power. And words were meant to be spoken out loud. It makes a big difference when you just think something and then when you say it out loud. It's the saying, I'm trying to think of one my mother said about, it's better to be thought a fool and remain silent than to speak out and remove all doubt. Have you heard that one?
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, there are power in the words we speak, and the way we speak words affect the emotions of others. Animals and people are super sensitive to our tone of voice when we speak. And that's how animal trainers train animals, and how some parents train their children. If you speak softly to most animals, they will wag their tails or come and rub up against you or calm down if they're barking and carrying on. The same is with children. If you speak softly to them, they will come up to you and end up being your friend or start talking to you. Sometimes they be real quiet. Or either they'll stop misbehaving if you speak to them softly. It depends on how they have been trained. Because you see, if you yell demands at your children, they will grow up yelling demands at their children. And that is how we have a culture of parents now that curse and yell and beat the kids. And it's their way of training. Some of them don't know any better. So I'm so grateful for this conference call, so that if there are any parents listening in, you will know that is not the way. But I'm going to leave that alone. That's another subject for another time. But back to etiquette. Now, the other magic word was thank you. Well, it's two words, but you know what I mean. These two words not only show appreciation for someone honoring your request, but a thankful attitude will earn you favor because it will encourage the giver to do even more. You know for yourself, if you gave someone a gift, say you gave your nephew a car and passed the keys to him, and he got the keys, got in the car, and took off. Shoo! Didn't say a word of thanks. Next time you had a car to give away, would you give it to him? I don't think so. You have to be thankful. And some parents have spoiled their kids that way by giving them things and not teaching them to show gratitude. That's why they tear them up and have no respect for them. And another reason, too, is that they didn't have to earn it, so they don't know the value of the money that they had to spend on it. Well, do you remember when Jesus healed the 10 lepers and only one of them came back to say thank you? But it was great that he did come back, and he came back out of fear because he was a Samaritan. And during those times, the Samaritans didn't associate with the Jews didn't associate with them because the Samaritans were looked down on as a mixed breed. You know, they were not pure, and they didn't associate with them. So he came back by himself to a Jewish man, kneeled down at his feet to say thank you when he saw that he was healed. And because of his gratitude, Jesus told him, your faith has made you whole. And he even asked him, weren't there 10 men that I healed? Where's the other 9? So you see, even Jesus expected them to say thank you, or at least that. So because this man came back to say thank you, he made him whole. And once something is made whole, it is complete. Nothing broken, nothing missing. It's just like brand new. So if there was anything else wrong with this man other than being a leper, he was healed. A thankful attitude will keep you stress-free. When you're thankful, you can say, I'm too blessed to be stressed. Yeah, I know you've heard that too. Stress comes from worry when we try to handle everything ourselves rather than cast our cares on the Lord. We have to develop a thankful attitude toward life and our blessings. We don't know how blessed we are until we see someone else who has less. The stress leaves our lives, and it leaves as we learn to trust in the Lord. As our trust increases, our stress decreases. And it is when we begin to realize the source of our lives and show gratitude, this is when our lives start to improve, and we begin to realize that our lives are not our own. We were created to be companions to our Creator, to worship Him and to be of service to Him. He loves us so much that He delegated His authority to us over the earth and all that He created. He even gave us freedom to choose how or what we wanted to do with the authority. We can choose evil or good, life or death. And all was good as long as we did not know about evil, which is death. We learned of death when we first heard and learned of evil, and that was through Adam, who chose to eat of the forbidden fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That's when he found out about evil. And that is what caused the separation between God and us. But thanks to Jesus, the second Adam, God in the flesh, we have a second chance. We've got another chance to be reunited with our Creator, who is love. And it will be at that big upcoming wedding feast, and we'll all be His bride. We're not here because we wanted to be here. We're here because God wanted us to be here at such a time as this. So you're here at this time because this is what He wanted. You are here. You have a purpose to help fulfill the grand plan of the God that we serve, to be reunited with him in love. He is the God of love and the only living God. And we have to learn to love as God does in order to be reunited with him. You can't bring anything else into his presence that is not of him. That is why we have to love our enemies too. They have their purpose too. Evil has its purpose, yeah. If there was no evil, there would be no fight. And many times if you forgive your enemy, you'll find that they end up being a stepping stone to where you want to go, or a footstool to serve you. But you got to first learn to forgive and not judge. It's God's job to judge and our job to love. And when you have a mate to share your life, you get double for your trouble. You double your pleasure. So all I have to say and ask of you tonight is to do things God's way. And that way you'll be blessed and not stressed. And if you have a pencil and paper handy, I'm going to give you some Bible verses that teach on being thankful. Even Jesus was thankful. You know, before he broke the bread and the fish to give to feed the 5,000, he would pray. He would pray before he would break the bread. Thank the Father for it. And that's found in Luke, 17th chapter, 12 through the 19th verse. That's the one with where he healed the lepers. Luke 17th chapter, 12 through the 19th verse. But the one where Jesus, he said to be thankful. We have to be thankful as Jesus. Where he broke the bread is in John chapter 6, verse 11. And we have to be thankful like Jesus. That's in Colossians chapter 2, verses 4 through 6. And all throughout the book of Psalms, David was thanking and praising the Lord and dancing to him. I mean, he was way out there with it, over the top. He's so much that the Lord said, this is a man after my own heart. But he started off a lot of the Psalms, like Psalm 107 and 106, even the very first verse in those two. He starts out praising the Lord and thanking the Lord. And many times you wonder why your prayers are not answered, we have to be thankful in our prayers. We don't just always come to the Lord begging with your hands stuck out. I ask people all the time and say, well, yeah, he blessed you. That's wonderful. That's great. Now, what have you done for him lately? Think about it. So thankfulness and prayer, you find that in Philippians chapter 4, verse 6. And to be thankful in everything, even in our adversities. Because many times our adversities come to make us strong. If everything was smooth sailing all the time, we wouldn't have no strength. We wouldn't know how to handle rough times. And we learn from our adversities too. So we have to be thankful in everything, knowing that whatever it is, the Lord will flip the script. He will change it to work for us, for the good, for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. That's if we remain in his word. And that will thank you for everything. You'll find that in the 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18. And I was telling you also not to worry. Well, that's not under please and thank you. But if you want to know, Jesus told us not to worry because, I mean, what can we do with worry? I asked a friend of mine the other day. I said, well, okay, now you've done all that worrying. What did it change? He had to smile. He said, nothing. I said, no, just a waste of time that you could have used to do something to help yourself or someone else. And I found that if you spend your time, especially times when you're going through a storm, doing something to help someone else, it takes your mind off of it. So you don't end up wallowing in having a pity party and being depressed. How can you be depressed when you're helping someone else and seeing the smile and the gratitude that comes from them? And even if you don't get the gratitude, you know you're sowing good seed because what you reap, what you sow, you reap what you sow. So if you're sowing good, you got some good coming. It's in the bank. Mm-hmm. Now, that verse about don't worry is in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 31. And with that, I'm going to turn you back over to my brother, Robbie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Amen. Praise God. That's so interesting that I played your song, Thank You, Jesus, which to me is like your theme song anyway.
Yeah,
that's my testimony. That's my testimony. Thank you, Jesus.
and so, yeah, I really like how you kind of tied in please and thank you and even kind of brought that in with the word or whatnot. So, yeah, I got some questions. We're going to open up for question and answers, and or comments, too, for that matter. So if you have a question that you want to pose to Minister Theola or even a comment, feel free to do so at this time.
I don't have anything quite yet.
Well, I'm so glad that you were there listening, and if you do have any questions, you know how to get in touch with me. It's my pleasure. If I don't know, I'll research it for you because I learn as I teach.
Amen, yes.
One thing, and I guess one of the comments I want to say, Mr. Wright, that I like is the fact that you kind of mentioned the emo cards, because that really, I mean, it's kind of like, it made me think about, now I can't think of the statistic, you know, that a lot of our communication is so much based by body language. I don't know if it's 70 or 80. I know it's like a really, really high message because we kind of do observe a lot of, I guess, facial expressions or body language when it pertains to communication. So, and I know this might be just a little bit off from the please and thank you, but how important is body language as it relates to etiquette?
Well, body language is very important because you can convey a feeling with your body or your expression where you don't even have to say a word.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
Yes, and my mother used to tell me, here I go again, what my mother say. It's not what you say, it's not what you say, but how you say it. It's not what you do, but how you do it. It's not what you eat, but how you chew it. You can say, I love you, and sound like I really love you. And then you can say, I love you, and the person knows that actually you do not love them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
And I've heard this, you know, that's something that has, we're creatures of habit. And we find little cliches and things that we say, and we don't even think about it. You can be sick, feeling bad. I won't say sick. I'll just say feeling bad because we serve a healer. We're not supposed to be sick. But the response is automatic. The person says, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing fine. How are you? You haven't even thought about how you're doing. It's just an automatic response.
That's so true.
Yeah, and the other person knows that it's automatic, but they accept it. Okay?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with some people who say, I love you. You can tell whether they love you or whether they're saying it out of love or is it just a routine.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or if they're saying it just to make you feel better, like, oh, well, I don't want to not say it.
Yes.
Feel
yeah,
bad.
You know.
Yeah.
Right. If they say, I love you, and then they're expecting you to say, well, I love you too. And if you don't say, I love you too, then they'll say, well, what's the matter? You don't love me no more? Well, yes, I do. Well, how come you didn't say you love me too? Is that a requirement for you to love me?
Thought-provoking.
Think about it.
So thought-provoking. Now, please and thank you. Well, I don't want to take over with questions. I guess now I'm going to open my mouth. I guess obviously, and I like how you kind of outlined the Bible or whatnot. Let's just say somebody who, I guess they wasn't blessed with maybe like a mother as yours or even maybe mine. In our case, I guess we have, the mothers and, kind of teaching us ways. What ways would you go? I mean, I know you talked about, I don't know, I guess where would you where would you recommend somebody who maybe they wasn't raised in an environment to express good manners or whatnot? What ways, what avenues could they sharpen their etiquette or their manners? Besides re-listening to this conference call again.
Well, we only covered two things this time. I know I strayed away from please and thank you here and there, but it was just so that I could include Bible quotes too, to let you know that all the things that has to do with etiquette, courtesy, respect, and consideration, these are the things that Jesus taught us in love. Now, if you were not taught the way of the world, their etiquette that they expect, you've got to have the desire within you, first of all, to want to learn. You have to seek what it is that you want to know. It's the same as if a person who's lived in, say, like the ghetto. Take Diana Ross, for instance. She was brought up in the ghetto. She pulled herself out of that and went seeking to find what she wanted. So it depends on what's in you. There are so many sources today to learn anything you want to learn. As a matter of fact, most of the things that I do, I learn by going to the library, pulling out a book on how to, and reading it, and then practicing it, then trying it out, and finding enough courage to present it to the public. Now, some things were handed down through tradition, through our parents, and like I was saying, my manners were handed down to me through my mom and my dad, but they were at a limit too. There were a lot of things that you don't know when you're out there mixing with all kinds of people from all walks of life, and there are things that you need to know, or they think that you're country bumpkin, or you have no manners, or you're uneducated, even. So you got to have that desire within you. And then the resources are there. The library is one. The internet is another. You can just type any question you want into that website, to the Google search. Just type it in the way you would ask another person. And you'll get so much information you won't know which one to start with.
Right.
So
where there's a will, there is a way. But it first has to start with your will.
Yes. The will to do.
The will to know. All. It said, know thyself.
Awesome. Any other questions or comments tonight?
No.
You guys are so
I
quiet.
really enjoyed.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, I was just saying, I really enjoyed it, Miss Theola. This is Constance.
Hi, Constance. I heard you were whiz, too, when you were on your speaking. Let me know when you're going to be speaking again so I can catch you.
Well, that's if Brother Robert ever wants me to speak again.
Oh, yeah. We definitely got to have some more health stuff. We overdue for some health stuff, so we definitely have to pull on you real soon.
All right. Well, just let me know whenever.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for dialing in, giving your support.
Welcome. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
All right. Well, if no other questions or comments, then once again, Ms. Theola, we definitely appreciate you blessing us and dropping in. And we hope to have you again to bring maybe even some more additional components of etiquette and manners. And also, I just really love how you brought in the golden rule with that, because I guess now everybody is so, maybe perhaps people have, etiquette and manners and things along that nature is all dying, because this world is becoming so much, so self-centered now. And even in the, as you know, I work in the, in a community college, and the thing now about the millennial generation, all the experts are saying, educators and, I guess sociologists and psychologists are saying the millennial generation, which I guess, that early 20s and below, and younger or whatnot. This is the most self-centered generation, the most entitled generation, and when you think of that, that's not exercising. You know, obviously we know this is not everybody, but the majority. And if you think about it, if you are self-centered or have an entitled mentality, then obviously you're not. That's not the golden rule. That's not really per se doing unto others as you want them to do unto you. You just kind of want what you want per se. So I don't know. That's thought provoking to actually say that actually having good manners is just actually exercising the golden rule. I just really like how you brought that out. So that's so awesome and thought provoking. So I hope in the near future we can bring you back again and add some additional components to that.
Well, yeah, I'd like to respond to that. You know, the younger generation, they're just following the fulfillment of what Jesus predicted. He said that, you know, in the last days, their hearts would wax cold and they would be lovers of themselves, and you know, people would pretend to be, to love God when they actually did not, and they would fall away from loving Him. So, you know, all those things that He spoke of, they're coming to pass now. So that's why it's important for each one of us who believe to go out and minister and take the word to others, to these younger generations, and teach them. They don't know. We come here thinking it's all about us. Mine, you know? And we have to learn. Someone has to teach us. And that's why we have to honor our parents, because these are our first teachers.
Right.
And they can only teach what they know. And the younger generation coming up now, as I said before, they if they had someone yell and scream at them, this is what they yell and do and scream to their children. So we have a whole generation who's been yelled and screamed at, never shown that kind of love and the soft and gentleness, and they pass it on to everyone in their lives, including their mates. And it's another reason why we have so much divorce. Communication on a level of love, you know, not hate and competition. So we have to, all of us who have dialed in and tuned in tonight, it's our responsibility to go out there and teach one. Each one, teach one. Pass it on. They don't know any better.
Awesome.
Especially if they don't have God in their lives. And see, since they've taken God out of the school, which was, that about 60 years ago? Close to that now? Close to that. Yeah, since they took God out of the schools, who do they have to turn to except themselves? They don't know of any other source to turn to teach them. Yeah. So it's our responsibility. What did Jesus say? The harvest is plenteous, and the workers are few.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Labors are few. And many are called, but few are chosen, because it's a great sacrifice that you have to make. You have to die to yourself. You have to be willing to sacrifice your life for what you believe, as Jesus did. And most of the people, they don't realize that to try to save your life, this life that we have here, you're going to lose it. You've got to die to yourself and give your life to Jesus, and you save it. Because He said, God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him will not perish, but have everlasting life. And if you truly believe that you will not perish, then why not give your life? Especially after Jesus has come here and shown you that He has authority to pick it up and lay it down. You know, life and death is in His hands. And He showed us by coming back, reincarnate into the same body, to let us see that, sure, they can kill the body, but they cannot kill the spirit, because that belongs to God. We're more than just what you see. We are spirits in a body.
Yes. Awesome. So how can people, I know I gave a little bit of info about you, how can people get a little bit more about learn a little more about you, Minister Theola?
And how can I get a little more about what?
Yeah, learn a little more about you, and also tell us what's the latest thing cooking on in your world these days. If you want to kind of give a little bit about a little sneak preview of what's going on with you these days, because I know I threw a lot of things out, and you've done that and more. But tell us a little bit how we can learn more about you, and of course, give us what's going on with you these days.
Well, it's not about me. I'm involved in a lot of things trying to help spread the gospel. And what I do is use the gifts that God has given me to spread the gospel. I use them to get the people's attention, and then just like tonight with the what I call it God Etiquette 101, you were expecting to hear about etiquette, and I'm sure from another perspective. But I incorporate God, I incorporate His Word into everything that I do, even fashion shows. So, yeah, you'd have to catch one of my fashion shows, but I find a way to sneak it in on them. I guess you call me an undercover agent. but coming up is the Unity Walk, and that's a global outreach to reach the people. We have a demonstration of unity because, Jesus taught unity, all of us coming together as one. And we ask all the religions, all the churches and denominations, all of them to just race and political affiliations, all that. We ask them to just drop that for a day. We wish they would drop it forever, but we ask them to drop it for a day and just come together in unity and love. Let's love on each other. And the demonstration of unity is the Unity Walk. It starts off, this is September the 13th, on Government Street in Mobile, Alabama. Starts at the Spanish Plaza Park, which is right next to the Chamber of Commerce in front of the Civic Center. And we walk up to the Cannon on Government Street and come back to the park. It's about a 4-mile walk. You don't have to walk if you don't want to. We have McConnell is donating some limousines. Well, not limousines, but they're fancy cars for us to ride the people that cannot walk, that want to participate. And we sometimes have motorcycles in the walk, bicycles, whatever you want. Just come. You can skate if you want. And when we get back to the park, that's when we have the big celebration. Everything's free. We feed everybody that come. And I don't mean potato chips and dip. We have real food there. And there's some jump things for the kids to jump around. It's a health fair as well. You can come and have your pressure taken. This year, you'll be able to even get a sonogram. And all this is free. We have the Ransom Cafeteria. They sponsor the Clean Machine, which is a long trailer that has washing machines where the homeless can wash their clothes. It has showers in it where they can shower. We have Ollie Graham out there cutting hair. She cut the hair, make them look decent again. And one of the guys last year said, when he got all cleaned up and everything, haircut, he said, now I can go look for me a job. And that just brought tears to everybody's eyes. And do you know he went out and got himself a job, too? So, yeah, so everybody who's who's dialed in, I'm so used to being on the radio, everybody that has dialed in, you're invited. Go out and tell a friend, bring the whole family, come on down. It's September 13th and 14th. The 13th is the day of the walk, that early that morning at 8 o'clock. And then the rest of the days we have speakers from the community and people coming up and singing, praise dancers, flag girls, whatever. And we do that all around the fountain. And then the next day, that Sunday, September 14th, is a concert that I promote. It's called the King of Kings Unity Concert. And there you'll get to hear the young people give their praises and their testimony. And it's a special outreach to the young people. But we invite the old folks too. I call it old school meets new school. But this is a platform for the gospel rappers, the holy hip hoppers, I call them, because many of the churches have closed their doors on these young people who want to express themselves that way. This is the kind of music they were brought up on, hip hop music. And to think that a child who has been brought up listening to gangster rap where they talk about negative things, want to take that music and put the scripture to it. Why not give him a chance to express himself to his generation? So that's a platform that God has made possible for me to give to them. And our desire is to take that all over the world the way Franklin Graham has taken Rock the River, which is rock gospel. And I'm just trusting the Lord to expand our territory. So far, we've been invited to Columbia, South Carolina next year to bring the King of Kings concert. Yeah, so God is doing his thing, you know. Sometimes you think that he's not listening. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right. I got
on a roll there.
No. That's good. That's good. Because as the Unity Walk, out of curiosity, for those that may or may not, for those particularly that's not in the Mobile or area, I know we got some people from Florida or whatnot, possibly from Mississippi or whatnot, that's kind of nearby that may be interested in joining that. Is this on your website, the Unity Walk, or is it another website, or is this on your Facebook page, or is it online?
It's on my website, and also it's on KingdomCovenantConnections.org on that website. Or either you can just, like I say, type into that search, the Google search, Unity Walk in Mobile, okay?
Okay.
All right, and all the information will pop up. We've had coverage last year. We've got the one of the television stations made us the special coverage of the day. I think it was Channel 15. But we also had someone come as far as from Orlando, Florida, to participate in the King of Kings concert last year, and his name is Herman Bryan. He sings reggae, gospel reggae. That's something I like too. I think I do. And then we had someone come all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to perform. And then we had a whole choir came from Atlanta under the direction of Brian Cosby. Now he wrote our first Unity theme, and we have an opening right now for the Unity song. Anyone who feels musically inclined and want to create a Unity song for our theme this year, we have a contest, and you'll win some money and you get some recognition. You'll be on all our websites and everything, and it'll be played on the radio as well, because what I do is I take music from every performer that sings, you know, and put it on a compilation CD for each year, and I send it to the radio stations to give them some publicity. So, you know, we have people come. So far we have Florida, Ohio, Georgia, I said Mississippi, and Louisiana. Those 5 states so far have people coming here to the Unity Walk.
Wow, that's awesome.
And the King of Kings, the King of Kings Unity concert. Now, the King of Kings Unity concert, the King of Kings concert takes on the name of the people who sponsor. So if the singles, Saved and Singles, were sponsoring it, it would be the King of Kings Saved and Singles concert. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it changes wherever we go and whoever is sponsoring it. So whoever's listening in, you want to sponsor a concert?
Well, awesome.
Okay, now one more thing.
Go ahead.
One more thing. Let's see, that was September, October, November 22nd, I will be presenting my line of Afrocentric fashions representing the country of Senegal, Africa, with the Mobile International Festival at the Civic Center.
Oh, awesome. That Mobile International Festival, for those that's not familiar, you're not from Mobile, and if you don't catch the Unity Walk, that's definitely something. And people come from all over to across the state and probably all around the neighboring states for that. So that's something you don't want to miss. Go ahead, Ms. Theola.
The International Festival, we have people come from all over the world. We represent
you know better than me.
all over the world. Yes, sir. And as a matter of fact, the Mobile International Festival was instrumental in having the leisure conference come here to Mobile. Now, some of you may have heard about it, but out of all the countries in the world, they chose the United States. And out of all the states in the United States, they chose Alabama. And out of all the cities in Alabama, they chose Mobile.
Wow.
To have the World Leisure Conference. More than 5,000 people are going to be coming here. And the reception is September 7th at the Convention Center. If you want to be a part of it, because what the Leisure Conference is about is these are people who seek out places of leisure, like festivals and vacation spots and theme parks and just things to do with your leisure time. So there will be so many companies represented there. As a matter of fact, they have some dignitaries that are coming in, and I'm stuttering here because I'm looking for a paper to give you some more information on it, and I think it's out in the car. But but anyway, if you want to register, you just get in touch with me, and or if you want some information, either way, just get in touch with me, and I'll make sure you get a flyer or something so that you will know what's going on. But this is a big thing, a world thing, coming to your city, Mobile, Alabama. And did I finish with the 22nd? Yeah, the 22nd of November. Well, the World Leisure Conference is from the 7th through the 12th of September at the Convention Center. So if you want to go. All right. Now, November 22nd with the Mobile International Festival, which represents all of the countries. And when you come, the thing about it is that they're dressed in their native costumes. They are selling artifacts from their native countries. They have food from their native countries. As a matter of fact, the kids call it the Food Fest, because that's the first place they head when they get there, to the food court. And they have so much food. They have 2 food courts. So, you can get just about anything you want, food from all over the world. And they have entertainment from each one of these countries. So that's how I got to present Afrocentric fashions that represent the country of Senegal. And it's going to be that Saturday, the 22nd. The morning is going to be I would say come about 10, so you can see the parade of flags and see all the costumes and just enjoy the whole thing. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I put on another show. So there's 2 shows, one at 11 and one at 3. And I would love to have you there. And if you want to model, let me know. Male and female now. If you want to model, let me know.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome. That's awesome. Now, what's your connection? I know I'll probably ask you a bunch of stuff. What's your connection with Senegal? Why Senegal?
Well, I first found out about Senegal through history, because this was one of the last holding places, the main holding place for the slaves before they were brought over here to America. So I heard about Senegal that way. And then when I opened the boutique African Village here in Mobile, which was a braid shop, and also I designed clothes to sell there, because I had people that would come in with they get their hair braided, and they want to know, well, where did this style come from? And I told them, well, the origin of it is from Africa. And they want to know, well, I sure wish I had some African clothing to wear with it. So I said, well, hey, I can help you there. And then merchants who would be passing through the city saw the sign, or, they have their way of finding businesses that cater to Africa. So these merchants from Africa would come to my shop. They would bring their goods to me. And I would always pick out the fabrics from Senegal. I just loved them because they were so bright and bold, and the colors just jump out at you and grab you. So Stella Dorn, who was the founder of the Mobile International Festival, she wrote a book about it too, and she even included me in her book. But she came to the African village, and she said, we have very few. As a matter of fact, we only had, I think they had just one African country at that time. And she said, we need some more people to represent Africa. Would you like to be a part of the International Festival? And I said, sure. What do I have to do? She says, you have to represent a country. You have to have authentic artifacts from that country. And you need to either present some food from the country or some entertainment. So I decided my entertainment would be a fashion show, showing the fabrics from Senegal, representing the country of Senegal. I still have people come up to me and ask me, are you from Senegal? I said, no, I don't know where I'm from. Somewhere, one lady looked at me and told me I looked like I was from the Togo area. But I know that you can. I don't know. But I had one lady tell me that you can take your DNA and they can trace it back to wherever you came from.
Really?
And the thing about it,
yeah, they can do that.
Yes. And the thing that they have found to reinforce what we have read in the Bible is that you can take anyone's DNA, regardless to what race or nationality they are, and trace them, and they will take you back to Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, shocked a lot of them. That's why it's called the motherland, the mother of them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
The oldest skeleton that they have found was found in Africa.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and they're still digging up stuff. Archaeologists are digging up stuff that proves. It's proof from what we have already read in the Bible, because you know that every book in the Bible has fulfilled itself except the last book of Revelation, which is where we are now. We're in the last book. That's why they say we're living in the end times. Yeah.
Man.
End of the book.
Wow.
And most people fear Revelation because it talks about, fire and brimstone, and getting hey, if you haven't made up your mind yet, you're in trouble. But you still have time. You still have time. It's God's will not that none be lost.
Right. Amen.
But,
Amen.
yeah, but Satan got his people too.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, he has made this earth his domain. He has made this earth his domain, and his time here is coming short. He knows it. Yeah. So he's using the strategy that the Bible speaks of. Train up a child in the way he should go. So, and he won't stray from it. And he's starting with our young kids, teaching them through the media the evil way. So we got to be on our jobs out there, reaching out to these young ones.
Amen. And that's the one thing, I guess, one thing that I like about you. And I guess it's always something I've always been amazed by the power of media, but even more so just impressed with people that are using the media and the arts to glorify God and particularly with, I think, with all ages, there's something out there in the media that appeals. But I think young people are most attracted to the media, and it's really a shame that not more people of God is utilizing the media and the arts to glorify Him. We kind of almost kind of run from it or shun it. So that's one thing I love about you. I mean, you already don't know. I mean, she's got to check out her YouTube page. She's got music videos. I mean, she's Oh Lord, the CDs, spoken word disc. She gave me a sample of some of her stuff on DVD, and I just love it all. So she's awesome. She's an inspiration, even to me. And I mean, she's just the Energizer Bunny. So you can see she's involved with some of everything. Now, kind of this last thing, then we're gonna let you pray. We're gonna do some prayer requests, and then we're gonna pray our way on out of here. But tell us one last thing about your vegan book. Now, I could be wrong. You might be in the process of developing this, or maybe you've already written it. But I know back in, I believe it was May, we had an event or whatnot, and at any rate, Minister Bright was able to. She got a chance to talk about some principles of eating healthy or whatnot, and she actually prepared a whole a buffet of vegan dishes, and I mean, I actually was like, I don't know about all this. This is a little exotic or whatnot, but I was just impressed. It was good. That food disappeared. I mean, everybody just gobbled it up. I mean, they just enjoyed it. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's called Vegetarian Soul.
Okay.
And it's in its last stages of being, it's finishing stages. I'm the queen of procrastination. That's one of my faults that I've been working on. Lord help me. But and to tell you how bad it is, it took me one time 20 years to finish a book. And I named it 20 Years of Love.
That's what I was wondering. Why was it 20 years? Okay.
It took me 20 years to finish that book. Yeah, so I use that to tell as a parable to tell other writers. Don't beat yourself up. It's taking you 3 years, 4 years, whatever. And they get upset when it's over a year. I said, honey, just keep on working on it. Keep on just chipping at that stone. Pretty soon you're going to crack it. You'll have it all down into little pieces and have it done. But the Vegetarian Soul is another one of my projects that I've been working on since, how long now? Maybe about 3 years now. Mm-hmm. And it's compiled of information that I have gathered for over 25 years on how to stay healthy, how to keep from being sick, what not to eat or how to eat. And I thank God that I have only been in the hospital one time, and that was to have my daughter. I only have one daughter. And I don't get sick.
Wow.
Now, I've named it Vegetarian Soul. Yeah, thank God. That is a blessing. I am 67 years old, and I don't take any medication, not even an aspirin. I sleep just fine. I got 20/20 vision, and I can outrun a lot of them youngsters out there, you know. I told her, you better think twice about snatching this bag, because I'll run you down. And I think I got that from my grandmother. I got that from my grandmother, because she was an active one like that. But I named it Vegetarian Soul because what I'm doing is taking vegetables and making them taste like soul food with seasoning, so that, it would be, because most people think that vegetables or just anything healthy doesn't taste good. And most of the time when they present it to you, it's so bland that it doesn't taste good. But I was impressed when I found that when I was living in Miami at the time, and I was just getting into my acting and everything, and I was an extra on Miami Vice. And everybody during that time, it was all the girls were crazy about Tubbs and Crockett. And I got a chance to meet Philip Michael Thomas. And I was really surprised to find, one of my girlfriends had a restaurant over on Miami Beach, and it was it's called Our Place, and it was all vegan. And when I walked in, she said, you got to come. She kept telling me, you got to come to my restaurant. And when she told me it was all vegan, and good healthy food, I said, oh, well, I don't know, one day. But then she finally cornered me and said, are you coming? I said, okay, I'm coming. So I went in there. She said, I got stuff. You said, you tasted, you wouldn't believe it. So I went in there, and I just wanted to taste a few things just to see what it tastes like. I was shocked. And she told me, she said, Philip Michael Thomas comes here and eat all the time. I said, he does? She said, yeah, he's a vegetarian. I said, he is? Because you don't think that a muscular body, a masculine muscular body, would look that way without all the things they tell you got to have.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is that all these things, and especially protein, you can get in vegetables. When God created us, he put us in a garden. Our garden. We didn't have to kill any animals. We didn't have to kill anything to survive. The killing of animals it started when the first sacrifice was made to get clothing, something to cover Adam and Eve when they realized that they were naked. That was when the first animal was killed. And since then, you know how creative we are. We have found, I don't know how many things to do with animals now besides eating them.
Right.
And also in the book of Leviticus, the 11th chapter of Leviticus, it tells you what foods are clean, what foods are unclean. And if you notice, vegetables are not listed at all when it comes to clean and unclean. It was all about the meats. Because we were a little crazy, man, eating everything. So God, he knew. He knew how we was going to act, I guess. So he laid down the law for us, things to keep us healthy and things that will make us sick. But we still have the free will to eat it if we want. We know swine is bad for us, the hog, the pork. But we have the free will to eat it, and you can eat it. Eat it for years and years and years. And maybe nothing will happen to you. But somewhere down the line, something will happen. And it will be caused, and you won't know it. It will be caused by the pork that you have consumed. Like arthritis, for instance. People don't know. Arthritis, rheumatoid, and all that stuff, rheumatism, it comes from the tracheae worm that's in the muscle of the pork. Even though they say cook it well done, so you can eat well done worms then. But but it's still there, you know.
Wow.
All right, it's still there. And years of eating pork, these poisonous things that are in the swine get into you, into your muscles. You are what you eat, and it comes out in negative ways. You can eat all the shellfish you want. Love shrimp. I used to eat oysters. I used to eat them raw. I used to eat on the half shell and all frog legs and alligator tail. I mean, I was going crazy, but I ate it all. But I'm so thankful. The Lord pulled my coat. And when I started reading the Bible, and when I read in Leviticus about the animals that I'm not supposed to eat, I said, what? I didn't know that. And then I thought about the people who were eating them, and they seem to be all right. But in their latter years is when some of them, it catches up with them. But when you're a child and susceptible, it will catch you right away because you haven't built up your immune system. There's a lot of things that hasn't become strong enough yet. That's why we have so many young people today that have old folks' diseases, juvenile diabetes and stuff like that, you know, arthritis, asthma, and all that stuff, because they're eating all this bad stuff that has been handed down through tradition, which they call they've called it generics, or it's what do they say when it's hereditary? It's only hereditary because you're eating the same foods.
Right.
All
wow,
right?
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, if you're still living the same lifestyle that your parents lived and grandfather, and the grandfather died from heart failure, and your daddy died from heart failure. Hey, what you think is going to happen to you if you keep on eating it?
Right.
So I don't feel like any dis-ease is hereditary. God didn't create us that way. And he is a healing God, but you can't defy his laws and then expect to stay well. He didn't change his mind. You read where it says that God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So whatever rules he laid down for the Israelites in the Old Testament, he didn't change them. When it got to the New Testament, Jesus tells you, I didn't come to change the law. I came to fulfill it. And if you didn't believe Moses, how are you going to believe me?
Wow. Yeah, I definitely. Go ahead.
So, yeah, you have to think about it. I had to give it up, and the hardest thing for me to give up was that fried chicken. I'd pass by and smell it in the air, and my car would say, turn around, make a U-turn. But finally, I can smell it now. And same thing with chocolate. I was a chocoholic, and I still like chocolate. But now I make my own with pure cocoa honey and, whatever else I want to put in it. And
I'm gonna have to try that the next time you do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's everything pure in it. No chemicals, no artificial flavoring, no dairy products. Because dairy comes from the cow, buttermilk and cheese and stuff like that. So I don't use those. And another thing now, the meats that have been approved by the Lord that we eat, they were real meats.
Right.
We didn't have to worry about them giving us harm. But now they have so much that are cloned, meats that are cloned. They're not real. I mean, anytime you see a truckload of chickens and every one of them is white, your brain should start clicking and say, hey, what's wrong with this picture? When I was a little girl, the chickens running around in the yard, they were all colors. When I saw a white turkey, then I said, okay, that's it. No more meat. No more flesh for the kids. Well, I know I've taken you a long way from pleasing. Thank you. but anyway, vegetarian food.
No. You okay? I'm thinking we're getting a two for one out of you tonight. But somebody just messaged me. What meats are approved? I don't know if you know that off the top of your head.
Well, read the 11th chapter of Leviticus. That is the book of laws, Leviticus. And you will find that the 11th chapter will list them for you. Okay, you just read it. And then if you read on further in Leviticus, you'll find that it covers so many other things, laws.
Right.
The Bible covers everything. There's nothing you can name. As Ecclesiastes say, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
That was Solomon who said that. There's nothing new under the sun, and there's nothing that the Bible doesn't cover.
Yeah. It's in there. We can find ourselves in there.
Yep. Man. You can find yourself. As a matter of fact, you can find yourself in the Bible and your purpose.
Yes.
But you have to read it because it will speak to you. It will jump out at you. And when you hit something that your spirit will quicken, it would just, I don't know, I jump for joy or something. And it just goes through your mind over and over again, and you got to do it. It's got to. I must.
Wow.
So you got to do the word. Jesus said we err because we don't know the scripture.
Right. Man, awesome. Woo! Yeah, you gave us a 2 for 1 tonight, which is good. A lot of good info. I think that we could probably pull you in on that, on the vegan thing one day.
I'd love to do that. That's my pet peeve. So much. So much that some people don't even invite me over for dinner no more. But let me say this. those that don't invite me to dinner are those that don't understand that I eat everything except flesh.
Right.
They have come to think that if you don't eat meat, of the flesh, and there are three kinds of flesh. You got your fowl, you've got the flesh that walks the earth, and you got the flesh that swims in the waters. Now, if you don't eat one of those forms of flesh, they think you're weird. They think you don't eat anything. And they ask me, well, what do you eat? I eat everything except flesh. I mean, if it's real. So please, invite me to dinner, okay? I'll eat all your vegetables. I'll take them home. And your fruit, too, your nuts, everything. I'll empty the house.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and let's pray our way on out of here. I know